Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. I'm Sarah. On today's video we are going to be learning how to make this stylish boo. If that's something you're interested in, come with me and let's get started. Also, do not forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment down below. Thank you. Here I'm using an Ankara fabric, and I'm also going to be using a doll face for the sleeve and the pocket and what have you. Here I already went ahead to fold my fabric into 4, and as you can see, it is folded in such a way that the black places on your fabric are facing each other. It could be white for you and it could be black depending on the kind of Ankara you're using, but just fold it that way you get a longer length. So here I'm just going to go ahead and measure out 3 inches for breadth, and I'm going to go ahead and measure out 1/4 or 1/2 inch for the length. And we're doing this because we want the neck part to sit on our neck very well, and I'm just going to go ahead and use my curved rule to make a curve so we have a proper neck curve. And from that point I'm going to go ahead and measure out my shoulder, which you measure out what your shoulder is and then you go ahead and mark that out. After you measure your shoulder, you're also going to go ahead and now add maybe 15, 10, depending on the kind of length you want. I'm marking 10 here because I'm going to be adding something at the end of the sleeve, so yeah. And for this I'm going to go down here and measure out my hip measurement actually, and then you add maybe 5, 6 or 7 inches depending on how big you want this to be. From the top here I'm going to go down by 9. You can actually do 10, 11 depending again on how open you want this to be. I did 9 because I like 9. 9 is kind of okay for anybody. I'm going to go ahead and make a curve here and take that line all the way to the end of the fabric, after which I'm going to go ahead and cut out the excess and then cut out the fabric that I need to work with. After doing that, I'm going to also cut out the neck part, and not just that, I'm going to go ahead and knot the center of this so I know where the center of the fabric is when I open it up. I'm just going to go ahead now and flip this over so the sleeves are going to be facing each other. We're still doing this right sides facing each other, so don't worry. I just want the sleeves to match each other and then arrange the fabric as it should be. I'm going to go ahead on one part of it. I'm going to say that will be the front part of the outfit, and I'm going to go ahead and mark 3 inches all the way to the lower part of this. After doing that, I'm going to go ahead and cut. You can make yours 4. It depends on how wide you want the opening of this to be. After we do that, this kind of looks like a kimono, but we're not going for a kimono, we're actually going for a bubu. So we're going to go ahead here and close, but before we do that, I just went ahead to fold the arm into 2, making sure that everything is sitting just right, and then I'm going to go ahead and notch. After doing that, I will go ahead and measure this round. You see the black shiny face sitting there? That's what I'm going to use to complete the length of the sleeve. Here we have the length of this, which is 20, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out any excesses if there are any. The wideness of this right here is 8, and when we fold it up it becomes 4. I'm going to go ahead and place it on to the sleeve, right sides facing each other, and then I'm going to go ahead and sew round and then go ahead to cover it up. Now we're done doing that. I'm going to show you a new thing. It's called a pocket. So I have a length of 7 and a wideness of 8. You can do 9 or 10 depending on what you want. Here I have a length of 5, and when you open it up it's 10. This is what the shiny face is going to be looking like. So evidently the shiny face is going to be a little higher than the actual pocket itself. These are what the pockets look like. Just going to go ahead and attach it to the cloth. Now if you want your pockets to be on the side of your dress, here's what you do. You already take the length of what you want or where you want your pocket to be, and then you go ahead and just mark it all the way towards the side and just make sure that the lines are equal. Now you want to go ahead and determine where the center of this pocket is, because as you can see we already know where the center of the dress is. Put this onto each other, center facing each other, and then you go ahead and pin. Now this is if you want your pocket to go towards the side instead of being in front or being inside of the dress. After we go ahead to pin it down, you're now going to go ahead, take it to your sewing machine and sew towards the side, but we're not going to be doing that for this. So this pocket is coming in front. I'm going to go ahead and go from the shoulder, measure down to 22, and then mark that out. That is where my pocket is going to be, at length 22 from the shoulder point, and I'm just going to go ahead and mark that out. After I do that, I'm also going to repeat it on the other side. Now I'm going to go ahead and place the pockets where I've already ruled the lines. As you can see, this is the opening for the front part, and I went in by 2 3/4 of an inch, just so it will not disturb when I go ahead to add the center part of it back. So I'm just going ahead to pin my pockets down, and I'm going to go ahead and fold the sides and sew. This is what we have when we're done doing that. I hope yours looks wonderful as we continue with the lesson. Yeah. The next thing we're going to do is close the center because it's kind of looking naked. So here I have this very long, very beautiful strap that I already cut out, and how I got to do this was I went ahead to measure from the bottom part of one side of our kimono, which is going to be a bubu really soon. I went ahead and I measured round it all the way to the other side, and then I got one number I was supposed to cut, and then I went ahead to cut it. Now that's how we got this. And if you remember, we cut out 3 inches for this. I went ahead on the black fabric shiny face and I cut 3.5. Now the half is going to help me. Half is actually going to help me when I am attaching it to the front. It would help balance the equation so it doesn't become too small or too one-sided. So I'm going to use half to close both sides. But before I do that, I have something to do. Now we're going to go ahead and flip this to the right side, so right sides facing each other, and I'm just going to go to the bottom, put both of them together, use my pins to hold it down. That way when I want to find out where the middle point is of this strap, I won't have any obstruction or disturbance whatsoever. After I've done that, I'm just going to go ahead and place this and let it sit very perfectly. Remember, right sides facing each other. And what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and use my pins again to now start placing this and holding it down so it doesn't move too much. And when I go ahead to find out where the midpoint of this is, I am going to go ahead and notch. Now you want to make sure that you are actually notching the middle point of this. If not, it's going to look one-sided, and that's what we're trying to avoid so much. So after we do this, I'm going to go ahead and measure out what I want the opening to be. Now this is very simple. You just go ahead and place your tape around your neck and measure how much space is going to be enough for you. Now it could be 24, 25. It depends on you and your phobias. It depends on what you want. Here I have 24, and if you go ahead to divide 24 by 2, you're going to go ahead and get 12. So we're going to go ahead and measure out 12 on this and then mark it out. If you were going to leave a slit at the bottom part, you go ahead from the bottom, measure what you want the length of your slit to look like, mark it out, and then from that point you just go ahead and sew those parts together, and then you get a slit at the bottom and an opening for your neck. But we're not going to be doing that, so I'm just going to go from that point and sew all the way to the bottom. This is what we have. There's no magic to this, trust me. It's just right sides facing each other, and then when you open it up, it looks like this, pretty much like this. You want to go ahead and iron so you have a neat finish when it comes to this, and also test it on your neck so you know like if it's fitted right. Before you go ahead to attach it to the neck part of this, now I'm going to attach it to the neck part of it, notched part to notched part. Remember, that's the mid part of it, and I'm going to use my pin to hold this. I'm now going to turn my cloth to the wrong side, and I'm just going to place this right sides facing each other, and I'm also going to use my pin, hold it down before I go ahead to sew. Now you want to be careful with this because the clothes can move, so you want to go ahead and stretch it, but don't stretch it so much so that it becomes not so good when you look at it. Just stretch it to what the ability of the fabric would allow. As you can see, I'm just making sure that it is stretched properly so it doesn't give like a gather effect there. After doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and sew all around this. Start from the midpoint to sew. When you start from the midpoint, you go ahead and sew on one side, and then you start from the midpoint again and go ahead and sew on the other side. This way it will help you maximize any kind of mistake or trouble you might run into. Remember y'all, it's right sides facing each other, that way you get a finished work. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew this and show you the finished result. This is what the dress looks like. This is the finished result. I already went ahead to iron the whole dress, so you can go ahead and iron yours. Also, don't forget to weave. The finished work is really important. I also went ahead to hem the end of the dress. Now I hope you enjoyed watching the video as much as I enjoyed making it. I hope yours turns out beautiful as mine did, and I hope that you don't get discouraged along the way. Just calm down and do what you need to do. That will be the end of the video. Now y'all, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Don't forget to turn on your notification bell so you're notified when I post a new video. Don't forget to love yourself, because I love you. Have a beautiful day or night, whichever it is you live for. Bye y'all. Bye.